Hello and welcome to Walk the Cinema podcast. Today we're going to cover another Best Picture nominee in Tar.
Yeah, Tar.
This is very interesting.
Yeah.
It is like a lot deeper and a lot more engaging than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting it to be good, but just different, I suppose. Because this, I think the first thing everyone would notice is the runtime.
Yes, it's pretty long.
It's 158 minutes, but it really didn't feel like it to me. It went by really fast, especially the first 2 hours. Just kind of flew by for me because I was so engaged. And I think part of it is the lead performance.
Yeah, 100%. Cate Blanchett, really captivates you from the beginning. So even though this is about a conductor, and she's very prolific, she's very popular.
Top of her game, yeah.
Yeah, she goes on interviews, does talks, works with Juilliard, all this stuff. And, we know nothing about music, composition, conducting, nothing. But the way that she talks about it and the way that she portrays her character makes you want to listen to her talk about
Which
it.
I think is why some people that dislike this movie, which I think it's totally understandable. Mm-hmm. I love the movie, but I understand that it's easy to dislike. But I've seen people that dislike it saying that the only good part is Cate Blanchett, but everything else is dull, boring. There's nothing there. It's a very loose plot and a lot of technical talk that you don't necessarily get unless you're into the subject. So a lot of it is trusting the process and trusting what they're doing.
Yeah.
And just her performance is engaging enough that I don't need to understand all these composers that she's talking about and all these technical terms.
Yeah, the techniques that they use and, all that jazz, but
she's kind of an antagonist in a way. She's a bad person. And it's the story of a bad person. It's the story of her downfall at the end.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, I think that at the end of the story, she becomes canceled. So basically, just in case anyone wants a synopsis really quick, it's about this woman, Lydia Tarr, who is a conductor, and she primarily works for the Berlin Philharmonic, I think. And she has her wife, and they have a daughter, and, people come to her for advice on conducting and, getting into the music business. Mm-hmm. But she has this habit of forming relationships with other women, and either, saying that she's going to get them certain things or giving them certain privileges, because she likes them.
Yeah, and she's the reason people will go to watch a lot of the shows that she performs. I think it relates to the opening credits, actually, which start the movie by thanking the people you don't think of, the production design, the costume design, the sponsors, and I think that relates to the movie because she's the lead and she kind of screws everyone else over, but it's a team effort. She needs everyone there. She needs all the people performing there, but she acts like it's her show and she could pull the strings and have the people she wants to have. She ends up giving a solo to someone because she's attracted to her. Mm-hmm. And she kind of gets her into the orchestra in the first place because she's attracted to her. And everyone thinks that her personal assistant is going to get a big job now because she's been sleeping with her.
Or at least kind of understand implied. That.
Yeah. Everyone there kind of dislikes her and understands that she's pulling the strings and she's doing whatever she wants because she's the big name in the orchestra.
Yeah, and so I think that when an inkling of something that could be her downfall happens, they kind of are this is our opportunity to kind of push her out, which, I'm not sure what exactly the message was supposed to be, I guess.
I think it's a movie about ego.
Right.
It's about her ego. And it's also, it might be about, like, social media and, like, getting canceled.
Yeah, that was my thing, because at the beginning...
But I think it's a movie about ego.
At the beginning, she's kind of giving a young Juilliard student a hard time about his conducting, because he chooses this piece that she kind of is like, it's a little vague. It doesn't really give you much to work off of, because of its vague. She's like, this composer's not creating like a sense of scenery with it. And so she suggests to this student to try something like Bach. You know, he's, a very well-known composer.
Right.
And all that stuff. So, and there's something to build off. Like, you can interpret his work because
you know his intentions, so
yeah.
you know what to do.
Yeah. And the student replies that he, as a BIPOC pansexual man, doesn't want to like do that, you know?
She basically does a whole speech about separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, right? She says stuff like, if you're judging him for being white and cis, what's stopping me from judging you from being black and gay or whatever? Yeah,
and you're conducting a piece that was written by a young, conventionally attractive
Icelandic woman.
Yeah, Icelandic woman, yeah. So she like starts off the movie like that, and in the end, she kind of gets canceled as well, where no one wants to work with her because of the accusations. Yeah.
And she also attacks someone on stage.
Yeah, because she is going like, it is kind of like she's going crazy throughout the film, because she has this thing where she's really sensitive to sounds, and they really bother her.
I think she's also haunted by a lot of things that she did.
Yeah. Which we don't know exactly what she did.
No, there's a lot of interpretation in this, and I think that's kind of part of why this movie's good. Like, sure, they could tell you exactly what she did, and it could still be good, but I think it's the interactions that she has with, especially with her assistant.
Yeah, Francesca.
Where, like, we understand that they know each other very well, and that's why they don't need to say everything. They can just look at each other and they know what subject they're avoiding.
Yeah.
But we also see that she blacklisted the girl that killed herself.
Yeah, Krista. Which we see at the beginning, where we think that she's just kind of crazy. At least that's what Lydia tells. I don't remember the character's name, but he was played by Mark Strong. Who is he's a more along the lines of like more of an amateur conductor.
He's more of a producer, maybe, or like an investor, something along those lines.
Something. He still works with her fellowship program that does place these people in the music world. And I think that the more I think about it now, like just talking about it right now, I think I recognized a something that happened, or something that made me think a little bit deeper, is at that beginning part where they're talking about her fellowship. She said that maybe we should open it to both sexes
because it's only for women.
Because it's only for women. And so I think she knows that she is kind of using her power to get with these young girls that come to perform.
Yeah, it's implied, and she's accused of using young women for sexual favors to get a position.
Yeah, and so with Krista, it seems to us that something went wrong. She wanted more, or wanted to make some demands. Like, you could probably fill in the blanks of, like, she wants her to leave her wife and, for them to become together.
We also see that with Francesca, where she leaves after she sees that she's now being replaced kind of by Olga.
Well, with that, and then she didn't even get the job.
Yeah, the promotion, right? So she's like, this is for nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just your assistant, and this is as high as I'm going to go.
Yeah. But we see that with Krista, we see these emails that we don't get to see the entire contents of them, but essentially we know that Krista was reaching out to her and Francesca via email for help, and then you see Lydia's emails saying to other conductors that Krista is not someone to work with, that has strange behaviors.
Yeah, and she tells that even to like her investors, or like her team, that she did a lot of weird things and that's why she needed to go.
Yeah. But behind the scenes, we only get like a little bit of snippets here and there that you have to kind of piece together what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, the end result is the same. Krista is no longer on the earth because of being blacklisted.
Right.
You know?
It's kind of a heavy movie. It's a lot heavier than I thought it would be. Because it starts with like a lot of technical talk and a lot of like, you don't know what's going to happen for like the first hour.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of doesn't develop for the first hour, which would be like an argument against it being so long. But I really liked it anyways. I felt like he really built this character up really well in that first hour, where we know she's cold.
Yeah.
She's kind of bitchy. We also see her like threatening a child at one point.
Yeah.
So it's pretty obvious that she's not the hero of the story.
And she does use like grooming techniques to intimidate this child, basically saying like, if you tell any adult, they're not going to believe you because I'm an adult. And even if you did tell anybody, I'd know and I'd find out and bad things will happen to you.
Yeah, she knows how to use her power. Mm-hmm. She uses her power as the conductor to get young ladies. And she uses her power as the adult to threaten a kid. And she knows exactly what she's doing.
And because she's so good, it's kind of like one of those things where no one's going to say anything. Because A, she's good, and A, she's powerful, or she's built her way out of here, which is, I think, the part where she goes back home to New York after she's been canceled and she sees her brother, he says something along the lines of, like, you forget where you're from, because she's kind of, like, reinvented herself, where her real name is Linda, and she goes by Lydia.
Yeah, she lives in, like, a small U.S. town, or she was from a small U.S. town. And now she's living in this, like, gigantic Berlin apartment with a super nice car. And, like, her kid goes to, like, the nicest looking school I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she would forget what she's from. But so would I. Like, everyone would, right?
Yeah. I don't know what the critique is there, except for that it really reminded me of Alec Baldwin's wife, how she kind of changed her name to... Well, be a little bit more Spanish.
Linda, or whatever she wants to go by, Lydia. Mm-hmm. She's an artist. A lot of artists change their name. It's normal. It's a better stage name to be Lydia Tarr than Linda Tarr.
Yeah.
It just flows a little bit better. So I don't think that's really, like, something I would criticize. But I understand, like, her family feels like she's disassociated from them.
Oh yeah, and I think it does like paint the picture like you really have let this go into your head,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I don't think anybody starts out in life being like, I'm going to use my power to manipulate others. It kind of just comes with the territory.
But even besides the manipulation, it's a lot of the downfall is that she's too big for her britches. Where like the scene at Juilliard where she's talking to the kid, she makes good points, but she's still belittling him.
Yeah.
She's still talking down to him. And sure, she's the teacher, he's the student, she knows more than him, but she didn't need to make him feel awful. She can make her point without doing that, but she doesn't need to, because she's not going to be fired.
Yeah, she's like a guest lecturer. She's not really like...
She's on top of the world, she has a book coming out, she's going to do a huge live performance that like
it's gonna be recorded and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of like what the movie builds up to. She's gonna do this live performance that's like a big deal. It's gonna be recorded and it's like the best for last. Like that's the end of her journey of doing this thing, which I'm sure they mentioned more, but it's very technical. It's a harmony, fifth harmony of something. Cate Blanchett actually learned how to conduct for this movie, which I think is very impressive. Because it's such a niche technique. Like, such a niche thing to learn.
Yeah.
And she didn't really need to, because, like, again, it's very niche. Like, we watching wouldn't know the difference. But I think it shows the commitment that everyone had to this movie. Mm-hmm. This is a movie you really have to commit to. There's a lot of great performances. The directing is great. The cinematography. The music is great. And the script is great. So there's a lot of commitment, and it all came together well because of that commitment.
Yeah.
Because everyone went the extra mile. It's not like a screenplay that was written and then they went to casting. You wrote this for her, and you could tell. And she took it at heart, and she did everything that she could. And it also really shows.
Yeah. Lydia, the character, is so deeply flawed, and I think that Cate Blanchett really was able to portray that. And I don't know, it is a good script, but I wanted to get your opinions on, like, the kind of ending part of it where
yes, we gotta talk about the ending.
Yeah.
People have been discussing what it means. I think it's just part of the downfall. Right? Yeah. She goes to a different country where she's not canceled.
Or that will take her, you know?
I mean, whatever, right? It's Thailand or the Philippines, I couldn't tell.
I think it was the Philippines.
They spoke in Thai at the beginning, that's why it confused me.
Yeah, but they speak in Tagalog at the end, so I think it's in the Philippines.
She goes to the Philippines and she does her thing, right? She prepares the people to perform this live score of a video game. Which is not a critique on video games, at least I didn't think that, but some people did.
Oh, interesting. I just think it shows the contrast of what she was used to.
It's a huge contrast. It's a crowd that's not wearing tuxedos. They're in cosplay, and it's music that's not written in the 15th century by German artists. Mm-hmm. It's written by I think it's like contemporary, like Japanese video game musicians. Mm-hmm. And it's the contrast of it. I don't think it's a dig at video games or anything. It is like a lower level of performance, right? Mm-hmm. That's not what you study to perform. I don't think you go to music school to study video game music.
Probably not.
So I think it just shows that a huge downfall, the fall of the big ego that was at top of the world and now has to go to far away, even more far away from home to perform music that maybe she doesn't love. But I've also seen other people think that she's happier now. She doesn't have anything to hide because it's all out. Yeah. She gets to live in like this low stake situation.
Yeah, but I feel like there's the part before we even get to that part where she wants to go get a massage and she sees all these like young women mm-hmm. just lined up, and you just pick one and they're the one that gives you the massage, and she like leaves that place and like throws up.
I think that's a reminder of her past. I think she saw in that young woman the other young women she's used, and she didn't want to like pick from a line of young women to be the one that, you know, because people were going to auditions and she was looking at these women and picking the one she wants.
Yeah.
And now she's going to the massage parlor and she has to do the same thing. And I think that made her feel bad about herself.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know if this ties into it, but like with the auditions for the orchestra, most of the time they would be performing behind a like panel so that you couldn't see anything but like their shoes or, you know,
right,
anything. So she recognized the shoes with Olga, and that's why she you know, scribbled out her score and put a score that would guarantee that she would be able to be the one selected.
She recognized her shoes. She saw her in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time we see from a beginning to not really an end, because I don't think she slept with Olga.
No, I don't think so. I think what I saw people talking about was that they think Olga's the one who is texting somebody, that we see those few times where we see the phone. Yeah, with the live and stuff like that. They think it's her. because, you know, they think that she kind of understands where Lydia is coming from. Like, she understands her more than she lets on. And, like, her MO and type of, and stuff.
I don't have an opinion about that. I don't know who did the live things.
Yeah. And then who are they texting? Which I think the biggest one that I saw was that it's Olga doing the live and all that stuff, and she's texting Franziska. But
I have no idea. That part is... Those moments are very short. It happened like 2 or 3 times, and they're not very long or very in-depth.
Yeah.
And I don't really fully understand the importance of them. But...
Maybe one of those, like, you know, chronically online type things.
Maybe.
Everything's, you know...
Yeah, but it didn't cross my mind that it could have been Olga. If anything, I thought of the girl that killed herself.
Oh, Kirsta. Yeah.
Because or Francesca, because Francesca's the one that was kind of obsessed.
Yeah, maybe.
With her at points. In the beginning, she's always in, like, in the back.
Yeah, she's always, like, lingering.
So, that's what I thought, but I really didn't, like, put much thought into it, because I didn't fully understand it. The movie, again, it goes really deep. It's a lot deeper than what I thought.
Yeah. I gave this movie an 8 out of 10. I did enjoy it. I think that maybe a second watch, maybe I'd be able to catch some more things that maybe I'm confused about, like the texting or the importance of, like, the massage parlor and stuff like that. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really captivating, and it doesn't feel extremely long, but I feel like towards the end it does kind of start to feel a little bit long.
Yeah, I agree. I think the last half an hour is the longest half hour of the movie. Not that it's bad at all. It's just I think it puts a lot of it together, where the pacing of the movie is quite slow, but the last half hour is not slow. I think it cuts a lot. There's a lot of cuts in the last half hour, which always refreshes what your mind is thinking of. But I also gave it an 8. This is like number 1 or number 2 for me in the favorites Best Picture nominees. Between this and Banshees of Inisherin, I don't know which one I would pick if I had to put one at number 1 to vote. But it's one or the other. I really like it. And this got 6 nominations. It got film editing, which I agree with, even though I think some people could be confused by it. If you're not fully paying attention, I think the editing doesn't really hold your hand. But I like how seamless it is. I really like the cinematography also, which it got nominated for.
Yeah, the cinematography was really beautiful. It
really worked. The framing was always good. There was not a bad frame for me.
Yeah.
It really worked. When it got close to her face, you understand that something was about to go down every time.
Yeah.
Without it being super obvious. With, like, the sound or anything. It also got screenplay.
Best original screenplay.
Best original screenplay.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of funny, because I've seen a lot of people, like, kind of mistakenly think that Lydia Tarr, like, is a real person. You know? What
I think happens is that the synopsis leads you to believe that.
Yeah.
But the movie doesn't.
No.
The movie's, like, clearly modern times.
Yeah, but I do think that maybe the opening one where she's, like, at an interview kind of makes it seem like this is just a reenaction of that interview, or, like, an interpretation of an interview.
That was a very good interview. That was immediately captivating.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That was very good, but the screenplay is very good. I know that the critics, not the critics, but the people that don't like the movie will say that it's nothing. There's no plot. But a screenplay is more than the plot. And there is plot, but I think the screenplay really develops so many characters so well without losing focus on Lydia. I just really enjoy the screenplay, and it shows a lot of intent.
Yeah. And then our next one is Best Actress, leading actress for Cate Blanchett, which obviously she's so great in this.
She demands your full attention.
Yeah.
The scenes where she's not on screen, you're kind of upset that she's not on screen, even though she's in, like, every scene. She's not on screen every time. Mm-hmm. When it switches to her wife, I'm like, I don't like you as much.
Right.
Cate Blanchett is so good in this.
Yeah.
Like, this is legitimately, like, her best performance ever. It's amazing. She might not win, but we'll talk about that in the prediction episode.
Yeah. And then we have Best Director for Todd Field, which I think he did exactly what he wanted to do.
No, this has great direction. Yeah. He got everything out of all those actresses, especially. Mm-hmm. There's like 3 women that like gave the performance of their life. And we're talking about someone that was in Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yeah.
Which is a generational movie. And I think her performance was even better in this.
Yeah, it's a lot more like subtle.
Even though, you know, she's a side character, she's not there all the time. The cinematography shows you that she is there all the time, even if it's in the back. And Todd Field got a lot out of her. Yeah. And there's a lot of intent. He clearly wanted Cate Blanchett to lead this movie. And it shows why, right? 'Cause she's so good. And he worked with her well. I don't think he's a favorite to win or anything, but he definitely deserves the nomination.
Agreed. And then obviously the final one being Best Picture, otherwise we wouldn't cover it. But I think that is about all we have to say about this movie until our predictions. So don't forget to come back in a week or 2, I guess. We're almost done with this. So yeah, we'll see you guys next time.